Today we've got a predicted ladder for you all, which we've compiled from predictions of a few of our Netball Scoop writers. In first place on that predicted ladder, in a shock to probably no one, was the Thunderbirds. As we saw at Team Girls Cup, they're just as dominant as ever, despite missing a few of their key players like Romelda Aiken-George and Shamira Sterling-Humphrey. So if they're fighting fit for the majority of the season, it's very hard to see anybody managing to get over the top of them. The only thing standing in their way will be that potential Team Girls Cup curse. So I'm sure there will be a few teams very pleased that the Thunderbirds walked away with that trophy, because it could be a bit of a hoodoo on them come the end of the season. Next up, we had the Swifts, which, with the addition of Grace Mleckie, I'm sure again is not a surprise to too many people. They've got that real stability through that defensive end, plus the additional experience and expertise of new assistant coach Dylan Nexip, which I think will just take those defenders to the next level. The experience they've been able to bring in of Verity Simmons in place of Maddie Proud is going to be invaluable, and then expect to see Helen Howes be back to her best now that she's going to have that really solid post-up shooter behind her. So this should be a really good redemption year for the Swifts. In third spot, we had the Melbourne Vixens, who have had a very stable lineup for a number of years now, and it seems to be working for them. Hopefully this year they'll be able to go that one step further, having appeared in a few grand finals over the last couple of years, but not quite able to come away with the win. So I think their season's going to hinge on what they can do in that shooting end when Garvin and Austin aren't quite firing. Lily Graham got lots of experience over the Team Girls Cup and has been touted by a few of those Vixens players as one to watch. So hopefully Simone will be a bit more willing to pull that switch in the shooting end if she needs to, and create that bit more of a shorter moving circle in there if the case is ever needed. Then rounding out the top four, this was one that was a bit of contention in this spot, but we settled on the West Coast Fever finishing in fourth. I think they will only be strengthened if and when Janelle Fowler-Nemard decides to return to court and return to that playing environment. We saw some amazing rotation through that defensive end over the course of the Teen Girls Cup weekend with the addition of Ruth Ariang, meaning they now have 4 circle defenders. So they're going to have that really strong defensive pressure all through the court, especially now that we're more likely to see a bit more of Jess Anstis in that centre position as well. So I think if they get Janelle Fowler-Nemard back before that mid part of the season, expect to see them be climbing up potentially a little bit higher. But as we saw over the Teen Girls Cup weekend, Olivia Wilkinson has proved that she is well and truly capable of handling that pressure in the shooting end. So really looking forward to seeing what she can pull out for the season. Then in fifth, we decided on the Sunshine Coast Lightning. Just a step below where they finished last year, but still an improvement on their Teen Girls Cup finish. They had a few close losses over that weekend, which we can expect to hopefully see ironed out as they go into the season proper, especially knowing that at Teen Girls Cup they had lots of players on limited minutes. I think, as I mentioned earlier, if they can keep their strong starting lineup fit and healthy and injury-free for the season, then we could potentially see them creep up a little bit higher into that top 4, especially if we maybe don't see Fowler-Nemard for the Fever until later in the season. But I think Courtney Bruce in particular will be key to that Lightning lineup, and the improvements of Kyra Conan as well. Hopefully she can step it up to the level that we know she can perform at. In sixth, and this is one that I can definitely see changing throughout the year, and a team that will definitely challenge some of those higher teams, is the Melbourne Mavericks. As we know, they've got lots of players yet to come back from injury, or that we've only seen limited minutes of over the pre-season. So if they're able to find the right mix of combinations between their shooting and in particular when they welcome Cardwell back into the fold, and also the right organisation of that mid-court, as we saw lots of Amy Parmenter in centre at the Team Girls Cup, which freed up the ability for Taylor Fraser to really dominate that wing attack position. So provided that their defenders are able to get over some of those tall shooters that they'll be battling up against, certainly wouldn't be surprised to see the Mavericks either creep a little bit higher up the ladder or at least take a few scalps from those top teams, particularly in that back half of the season like they were doing last year. In seventh, we have the Firebirds. Similar to the Mavericks, this is a team I can definitely see taking some scalps towards the ends of the season. Team Girls Cup was probably a disappointing campaign for them, not being able to come away with a win, but we did see them building over the course of each game, which was really good, especially considering Mary Chollock has only been in the country for a week or a few weeks at the time of that tournament. So as their combination continues to build with Mary and that defence then starts to get more experience and more exposure against those top teams, then I certainly think we'll see improvement from them. So while we unfortunately have to put them at the bottom end of that ladder, can certainly see some big games from them in the second half of the season. And then unfortunately we've got Giants in that 8th spot taking the wooden spoon, which is the same position they ended up in last year. I just think with the same pretty much squad that they had from last year, with the exception of the inclusion of Hope White coming in, I think their defensive end is probably going to struggle a little bit with the height of the shooters that are in the league now. We've obviously got Mary Chollock and Grace Mikey who've come over, who are just adding more and more height into that goal shooter position, which while Erin O'Brien is tall and able to contend with those players, she doesn't quite have the experience. So hopefully she'll be able to just grow and grow as the season progresses. Jodie M. Ward had a really good pre-season and those two seemed to combine really well together. So hopefully they'll continue to grow as a pairing throughout the season. And then if Julie Fitzgerald is willing to use her bench that little bit more this year with the injection of Hope White for a few games in that attacking midcourt, as well as the inclusion of Matisse Leatherbarry in a bit of a rotation system with Jo Harton, then fingers crossed it'll be a little bit of an improved season for the Giants, but that's how we've got everybody sitting at the moment. So I hope you enjoyed the video that we've put out today. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss anything that we're posting throughout the season. And also jump over to all our other socials, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky, all of those. In particular, our TikTok is going to have lots of those short form content that we filmed over the course of the Teen Girls Cup weekend, and that won't necessarily be going up on our other socials, so you're going to want to make sure you've subscribed over there so you don't miss anything, as well as we'll be using our YouTube channel to upload a few more of these long form style videos, plus some really exciting interviews with netball people from across the globe. So stay tuned and can't wait for the 2025 season to get kicked off over the weekend.